Hey, you. How you been? Where you been?
Right, all we can do is.
Good gifts.
Yeah, that's true.
Here.
Kowski,
Here.
Stevenson,
Here.
Bennett, Washington. Okay. We have all but one older person here for the committee. Okay, audience. Anybody from the audience, you have 5 minutes.
Oh. Boy.
State,
How you doing?
okay, state your name.
Oh, my name is Broadnax, Melvin Broadnax. I'm a very loud guy from Georgia and I'm a. Well, I apologize for interrupting the meeting, but, over the last month or so, my church discovered a problem with mold. Sufficient mold. I'm gonna say sufficient. Okay, finding out we're gonna have it communicated this month, you'll start taking it out. But we discovered the biggest problem was that initiated the mold, but would do with moisture. And it has to be a street right in it, it's an alley that runs back to my church. The church is a little low, so the water coming off of that street is going under the church. And we have mold under the church and in the attic, and the ceiling, old place. And what I'm here tonight is see, can I get a system from the city with ideas? I'm not saying to do the work. I said with ideas of getting this repaired. The main thing is, I was out, Chris brother, he came out there and told his hands, man, I can't do nothing. And what I would like to do, I don't know if you have a city engineer or not. I don't know, but if you do, I would love to talk to him. Maybe he can give me some ideas how to repair this. The other one, I need to talk to my man I just spoke to a few minutes ago about doing something to do this. Because if we pay all this hundreds of $1,000 maybe to get the mold out and still have the same problem, we're gonna be right back here. So I'm just looking for assistance from the city and helping me to figure out an avenue to solve the problem. Where you can, grounds can dig a ditch or do something to help us, which you could pay. Our engineers can tell us what we can use tile or something, just build an area up to stop the flow of water. That will solve our problem. We need that help. We need your assistance. And I am not pleading, but I am asking for assistance. And that's mostly it.
Where's the church?
Okay, I'm sorry, thank you. My church is named the Greater Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church. Right over here on D Street. And I think you may notice that where I'm talking about in the back, the water is definitely going in there and just, we have made a mistake. We are subject to mistake. This should have been corrected years ago. But hindsight is the best sight, right? If you can see in the future behind. But the idea is not, but we have a problem there with the water, the street, water flowing out the street into our building. And we need assistance in that category. Whatever you can do, particularly if the engineer can draw something up that we can get it repaired. I can turn it over to a contractor. But we need something. I'm not an engineer, so that's an expert here. And but I would love to have this to work with the city on it and getting it repaired. And that's all. Simple, but it get to be a headache. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
And
Just so you know, we don't respond to anything at this.
oh, I used to live here.
We will respond we may bring it up during the meeting, but we don't,
I understand that, but, I would ask you as soon as possible, cause the 23rd is next week. And we wanna get it, something going, if we can't do anything else. Give us some ideas, so we can start on it and take the mold out and repair the problem at the same time.
okay, thank you.
All right, sorry, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Anybody else?
Hey.
Okay, nobody else from the audience, we'll move on to Alderperson. This is Alderperson, and, any Alderperson comment?
Ms. Washington, do you know that gentleman? I could get his
That's not true.
information whenever, after the meeting.
That's not true.
That's for
But
sure.
Cody and I could, we could go talk to him personally and at least get the ball rolling of, yes, we can help, or no, we can't,
That is,
and point him in the right direction.
that church is relatively, speaking of churches in this, that church is relatively new. And they had some drainage issues when it was built. There was an issue over there, and, I thought it was taken care of years ago, before I was on the council. You need to talk to them, find out what's really going on, take a look at it. The reality behind there is it literally above the church.
We'll do that.
Anybody, any other older person? Okay, there being no older person comments, we'll move on to committee reports, or reports. Finance committee, anything?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is there any information on anything that you guys are discussing other than the agenda and the one thing for the lift station tonight?
It's the agenda.
I know, I'm saying other than the agenda.
Other than the agenda.
You don't have anything else? No information?
Unless an older person brings something up.
No, I'm saying like on the topics that are here.
Not unless an older person brings something up during their part of the meeting.
Gotcha.
We wouldn't be able to make a decision, but we could discuss it or listen to it.
I was just curious, I'm curious because I read the agenda.
I think he's asking if there's attachments that go along with the items that are on the agenda, because there was no attachments on mine.
There was only one, there was only the one for the lift station.
There are other attachments we received.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I figured that there should be, but there's not. So I would like to review them before I blew my 5 minutes, but.
What? There are three of them there.
Well, there's only one online.
Is there one you're particularly interested in?
Yeah,
Which one's that?
Creekside.
What about it?
The Creekside, we'll be talking about that. But the Creekside one is just simply, it is the Creekside agenda item are the ordinances that put into effect their requests.
Right, and that's what we wanna see.
Yeah, that's what I want. I wanted, yeah, to be able to review that.
They should have been online. I don't know what I don't get, we get them direct.
Thanks, sir.
Maybe it should be read out loud.
Quick look there. No, he didn't put it online.
That's what they just said.
Well, I'm just making sure, looking through my back door, wasn't there either. All I could do was ask Paul to do it. We can discuss it because we received it. But, okay. Finance committee. Anything?
Nothing in particular. I haven't spoken with Jessica or Michelle about anything that might be new, but I know we made some progress on the grocery tax last week, so. Other than that, I got nothing.
Is this good to keep on?
I'm sorry.
Can I keep this or you need it back?
I can print out another one, but I can look at it if you're looking at it right now.
Oh, no. Well, we making some words on.
Cody, can you make about,
Is that one I can take back, get a copy, so we can still read?
that's the only one you have to have.
I want one too.
Or I mark it up?
Can you make about 5 copies, 6 copies?
Yep.
Okay, now move on to water and sewer.
No, something. Right. Thanks, Charlie.
This is yours.
Well, I don't have anything for the, are you talking about, the
Tap
meters?
on fee for the high school soccer field irrigation project.
What do you want to talk about? Are they requesting to have access to water to irrigate their system?
Right, the normal tap in fee is $2,000.
Okay, so they don't have that now. They want to tap in to us.
They want to tap in for their soccer field irrigation.
And
I can speak to what I know about it.
Okay, thank you. Dan.
I don't know a lot about it other than the school called requesting to have a tap for irrigation for the soccer field. To help, I guess make the soccer field look nicer. And so we spoke to that. City Hall gave them the price to do that, which depending on whether it's commercial or not, is either $2,000 for residential, $3,000 for commercial. The last tap that the school did was for the greenhouse, and they were charged $3,000 for that tap. Anyway, to move forward, I'm not sure exactly how the request came up here, but it was asked, could the city waive the tap-on fee for the school? Now, to me, if there was like the sewer, a tap-on fee, the city doesn't provide anything other than access to the main. But for a water tap, we are providing materials to do that. So we would be providing saddle onto the main, corporation stop, we'd be doing the actual tap. And then you most likely would run plastic line and a pit, frame and lid and a meter. So in my looking at it, I think that's fine to not charge the school for that $3,000. But I think that we should recoup our costs for at least the materials. That's my opinion.
well, all right, let's go from there. Okay,
And I
I'd like
don't
to
know,
know.
I don't know what that cost is off the top of my head tonight. If
Yeah,
that's what you're gonna ask me.
well, that and, I'd like to know, do they pay real estate taxes?
No.
No,
Okay. All right, and it would take roughly 3,000?
No, the material won't be 3,000. I can have that for you by next meeting. I did not know that it was on the agenda till,
Yeah, right,
got it.
Sure.
on Friday, so,
uh-huh,
I can have that for you by Monday, a cost, if we're not charging our, our time, I think that we would be far under that price. Materials have gone up, but I can have that for you Monday night. Just basically whether the city wants to help the school system and not, but basically reducing that cost for them.
since that would be similar to our deduct meter situation, where that water does not go back into the sewer system.
That has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
They wouldn't be charged sewer anyway. They don't really charge the water that they're using. It would be a water only account, which we have several of those now. The greenhouse is a water only account as well. So there's no sewer charge for the greenhouse.
Okay. But it would be some work by the city to tap in, right?
Yeah, and I'm saying we could, even if we're donating our time, that's fine, but I would think we would at least want to charge whatever the materials are costing us.
yeah, I think we ought to kind of look at it from a cost basis and come up with something,
Absolutely.
okay?
I can have that, and I can try to send it out to everybody before,
And maybe there's two alternatives? Not just one? Maybe a second alternative?
I don't know what that other alternative would be, other than either we,
Do you have to,
Wait,
do you
wait,
have to run
entire-
pipe?
that
You
they
have
would
to
be
run-
running, they would be running their own pipe from the meter to irrigate the field. So we wouldn't be doing any of that. All we would be doing is setting the meter, at or near, if anybody knows where the fire hydrant is, near, in between the grade school and the high school, on the back road that goes to the grade school, it would be set very close to there.
Oh, wait a minute, my mistake then. Oh, okay, all right. I'm fine. Okay,
So do you wanna put this on the agenda for Monday to discuss, to make a decision?
sure,
Okay, we're not gonna recommend say anything about it, other than the fact we have to discuss it. Because we can't make a recommendation when we don't have all the details.
okay,
In
And
my
I said,
opinion,
I'll try to send that cost to everybody by, if I can, I'll get it tomorrow, if not, it'll be
I
Thursday.
appreciate it, Penny, thank you. A second item under water and sewer. The cost of the deduct meter to residents.
do we have anything on the cost for the deduct thing?
I don't have anything other than telling you that this is the deduct meter. I did get 10 of them. They were just delivered today, because we passed that ordinance and we've already had at least one person ask. The question is, what are we charging? That wasn't decided at the meeting. The cost for these right now for us to purchase them with these fittings was $124. We did not obviously want to put it in some kind of writing that we're only charging $124, because I can guarantee you by the next time I get these, they won't be $124, just because prices change weekly. I have the 10 that I ordered, and I have, what did I say, 12 more on back order. I have no idea what the response from people will be wanting them. So
Well, how
that's,
fast can you get them?
that depends on how, I mean, sometimes we're waiting months to get regular meters.
Oh, really?
So I went ahead and ordered, a dozen more besides these 10 that I had. They just happened to have 10 on the shelf. I said, bring them to me. So we have these 10. But in saying that, part of that ordinance, there was some, charges in there for different things, administration fees and different things as part of that ordinance. I don't know what your all's thoughts on what we're charging is, so we need to give some direction to the ladies in City Hall as to what we're charging. Are we charging what the meter costs? Are we charging what the meter costs plus $5, $50?
Maybe the folks here can tell us how much time and effort they put into that.
They've never done one. I mean, it's
Well, I
brand new
mean,
to us.
how do you
so-
handle it and all that? I don't know, yeah,
I think they're looking for direction from.
sure.
Well,
I don't think you can get an exact number like you're saying, Penny, because like you just said, this week it cost 124, 2 weeks from now it could be 150. 3 weeks from now it could be 119. Unfortunately, I think you gotta wait a little bit to see what it is this week, what is it next week, what is it this, and average out on that. You can't really say, hey, we're slapping the table, $125. I mean,
well, I agree with that. Well, I think what we put in the ordinances, what we had in our discussions leading up to the ordinance was cost of our cost plus $10 fee. One-time fee for $10. I believe that's what's in the ordinance and in the discussions. So we'll get that all settled. There was nothing, it was not extravagant, but it was the cost of the meter. So we were not making anything on the meters. And a $10 administrative fee. And that's one-time fee. And then I believe there's a $5 a year fee just to maintain it.
And can you tell me, to refresh my memory, so they come up and they want to buy one? Do we, the city, install it for them?
No,
No, they do it
This-
all.
we're gonna put them together because they're plastic and, they cross thread fairly easily, so we're gonna have them just like this for whoever comes in, and we will probably leave them here at the office. They'll record this number that's on the top. Because they're specific to each register, and then they will be put into their billing system with this number, and then in October, just as it was in the ordinance, people have to bring them up for a one-time deduction.
Who would that advantage most? Just the folks with the, like, large swimming pools and things like that?
People with swimming pools, people with gardens, people who want to water their grass a lot.
What about the religious facilities with baptismal pools and stuff? Put that in. I mean, just anybody with large quantity.
Anybody who wants to fill something that is not, that they want to, it can't, excuse me, it can't be going down the sewer. So your baptismal font, I'm pretty sure drains to the sewer. So you could have put this on an outside hose and then go in and fill your pool and then drain it to the sewer. I mean, you could, but that's what we don't want to happen. That was my reasoning at the beginning with not really being fond of these, because there are ways to manipulate the system. But that, I'm sure the baptismal font, because of where it is, drains to the sewer. It doesn't drain to the ground, but anything that doesn't drain to the sewer, that's what these are for. Mainly for an outside faucet on your house to, say you want to wash your car, or say you want to pressure wash your house. Anything basically on the exterior of your home or business that you want to use it for. I know Chris is looking for one. Down they have a truck facility that they use just for their trucks outside, and they're gonna put one on their meter, I believe.
All right,
You gave me a head nod. Sorry.
I think
No, I think another thing that needs to get discussed within that pricing is like, since that is gonna be basically the property of the homeowner at that point, are you guys gonna only go through manufacturer like warranty, or are you guys gonna guarantee them for X amount of
That's
years?
in the ordinance, that there's no guarantee, it's all to
Yeah,
the manufacturer, and that's it.
Yeah,
Well,
but you're locking them into that one manufacturer.
yes,
so I guess we should have some little sign that tells them that, or
And that she was
when they come to get one, why.
worth it.
The ordinance spells out the fact that they're paying for it. I believe the ordinance states that.
Fulfill that ordinance.
Or
The
you
ordinance
Go
is
with
passed. It's written,
Yeah.
it's passed.
big money.
You could give them a sheet to sign that says, I understand.
Yeah, that's our office procedures. We don't micromanage office procedures. If they have an office procedure that they have people sign for something, that's office procedure, that's procedure being things. And the council doesn't do the minutia. We don't micromanage procedures in the office.
Oh,
That's micromanaging. If we tell them how to do the.
we're just doing some recommendation.
Tonight, we're only doing recommendations.
I'll talk to the ladies in City Hall tomorrow just to see if they have anything that they would think that they would need. I think a registration form of some sort is something that they would keep on file anyway with the number. And, you know, when they bought the meter would be registered anyway, so I can get those things together. I just want to make sure that there's no other fees that you are all planning on charging other than just the cost of the meter plus whatever is in that ordinance.
There, in the ordinance, there is a fee, a maintenance fee that's charged at the time that the meter is taken, in addition to the cost of the meter. And all along, I think we've been talking about selling them at cost. We're not, this is not a moneymaker for the city.
But are you talking like $10 for
$10
any,
administrative fee.
really? Okay.
It was a nice round number. I
Yeah,
believe that's in the
yeah,
ordinance.
Yeah,
I didn't bring them all with me to see it, but that was in the ordinance. I could look it up, but there's time involved.
and how much are they?
$124.
These were 124 that I ordered today, or got today.
And see, that was the price range was, in the other cities that I've considered, we talked about this, it was $124. Then they charged a $10 administration fee to set it up. And then every year when you bring it back, it's a $5 reading fee and then a $10, if the city goes out and does the reading, it's $25.
If you forget and leave this on your outside spigot in December, it freezes. I got your luck. You're buying another one next year.
Yeah,
Because it is gonna break.
they gotta take it off. That's right. It's all in the ordinance.
Give some instruction, give the ordinance with the meter when they get it. And, you know, some of those things will highlight out so that people realize. And then, you know, are we gonna hold tight to that October 15th date? Because I know that's an issue in some other communities too. Somebody will come in and the end of November and want their deduction and. That's it.
Well, we don't macro those things, so put it down on paper and
We'll get some of
make it your best bet.
Yeah, one more item. In the water and sewer.
Penny,
Keep on going? Okay.
yeah, keep going.
Keep going, Penny.
Okay, some months back, I brought the issue of McHenry Park lift station and it being repaired. We got some quotes to do that, and at the time, company ESA was the low bid. Or it wasn't really a bid, it was a quote. And the city chose to have ESA move forward for $5,000 some. I just recently got a letter from ESA. This was back actually before the new fiscal year started, and we've been holding the check for them to start the project. I got a letter from them saying, thank you for the consideration of the proposed bid number 3810. Unfortunately, at the time, we're unable to complete initial bid project requirements due to unforeseen staffing issues. We apologize for any inconvenience this has caused and appreciate consideration in the future. So that being said, you see their quote and you see two other quotes in the things that were sent out as part of the agenda. One was from Lydican Plumbing, the other from Van Deventer Engineering, who is well, actually it's called Cogent now, I think, but the paperwork still says Van Deventer. Anyway. The one from Lydican, its price is on there. You would need to add both of those prices together, which would come to $9,125. They did in two projects, one for the valve vault and adding a bypass, which the other people had to, ESA had done that as well. And then secondly, to repair what is bad in the station. There's a hole in one of the pipes. We've only had one pump operational there because of that for a number of months. So was wanting that to be repaired already by now. It has not been. So we have these two other quotes. I would suggest that we go with the second quote, which was from the second highest, which was from Lydican, and move forward with getting this fixed.
That's 9,000.
If you add the two of them together, it's 9,125 with my rough math here. Yeah, 9,125. And the other bid you can see there from Van Deventer was 25,000, I want to say.
Yes.
25, yeah.
Yeah, almost 26.
Well, I've had some dealings with, whatchamacallit here, Lydican. And I've always been very pleased. And it's not just doing something on a toilet. I had plumbing from one side of the town to the other.
Lydican is who just did the sewer work for Creekside.
I think they're a very reputable outfit.
They are. They've
I
used
just-
them on other projects.
Not everyone will work on the lift station, in the actual lift station, so we had to search around a bit to find people who will do that.
So we're limited in vendors we have. That was the estimate, it's almost double what the old one was.
I got a question. Is this a project that we can execute ourselves, or is this something that has to be contracted
I
out?
have to contract it out.
We don't have the equipment, or?
We would contract it because of the confined space that's entry that's required. And there's some concrete removal between the two structures and some pipe work that we wouldn't normally do.
Okay.
Usually, if we have to go outside to do it, there's a good reason
Gotcha.
why.
Yeah, we usually repair pretty much everything that we can ourselves, and we actually tried to repair the pipe in there. And we're unable to do just the pipe. We're gonna have to repair the entire structure all the way down to where the pump sits, so a much more involved process than just changing a pipe.
Plus, we've already dug all those trenches that messed up the streets. So,
Yeah.
No, that's not for that
well,
list.
that's not, let's,
No, McHenry Park.
oh, that's right,
George, I got another question,
sure.
on the issues that we ran into with the, lines going in and people not being notified and all that kind of stuff. Is there something that we have in our books that holds, those contractors accountable to where we can fine them like $5,000 if they don't, if they don't, let the citizens know at least a week in advance that this project is going to be going on? I know with like the state, like we have that type of deal, to where like people have to be notified at least a week in advance. I didn't know, do we have something like that already in the books, or
There's nothing.
is that something that we
Well,
can do
it's
so that
something
we
that's
don't run into this problem again?
That's something that is good, that is addressed in the contract, that when we actually sign the contract for the work,
Okay,
that's where that's addressed.
I didn't know.
It's not in any ordinance.
okay,
And this particular project, down on, know where we are, we're at the McHenry Park and not the other lift station. McHenry Park, they're not doing any outside work, but they're going through yards.
sure. No, I'm just saying though, like,
You'll be in 1 yard, possibly between 2 yards, to make the connection outside of the station.
okay,
But it is not a project where we'll be digging through the right of way like the other, and there are 2 homeowners right at the lift station. They've already been notified that it's going to happen, and I
Okay.
told them I would let them know within a few days of when that project was gonna happen, just because they're gonna hopefully restrict their sewer usage at that time, because if not, it'll be running on
okay.
its head.
So like, but like the next large project that we have though is something like that, is that something that we can put in our contract and we don't need an ordinance for that? But that's just something that we can put in our contract so that we
Sure.
don't.
When it comes to council for approval, then
That's when we can
that's
put
when
it
we can
in.
do it, or we can
Okay,
ask that when it comes to when the project comes to council for its approval, at that point, we can say, when the contracts are done, we want to make sure that this is in the contract,
okay,
so that the attorney and that other company knows about it. And hopefully it won't be something that the company is gonna say, no, we're not gonna do it. But that they can,
Part of their contract, they're gonna have to do it, but
right.
that's not something
That's what I'm
that's ever been
saying,
a
you
part
have
of any contract. In my time here for the city, any project has never had a stipulation for notifying the public.
Mhm.
And that's why I was saying at the last meeting when we talked about it, that maybe that's something that we ought to do internally to
Mhm.
notify. Now, in this particular case, for the project that was just talked about, on Hunter, they notified me a day before they started.
right.
So-
That's what I heard.
So I understand your point, and I think it would be a good thing to at least,
Like,
put
at
something
least put
in
it
it
in the
that says you
contract.
have to notify the city at least, if not the homeowners.
Okay. And one more thing though, like, cause I was just thinking too about the project that is about to happen or whatever that we're gonna approve or whatever it is. With like, the confined space and stuff like that, we're not confined space qualified or trained?
We can enter confined space. There's a lot of stipulations that go on there. But I can tell you, we've been going through all this OSHA stuff with confined space. We do have the equipment to go into there. We have a hoist, we have the gas detector. There's just a lot more that has to go on. There's one person that's gonna go in there. We have to have a person trained on top to tell what kind of space that is, always, keep on top. There's a lot to go with
Sure.
being a confined space.
Right.
So if it was something where we thought we could just, which we have been in there before, but we were just gonna go in, try to put a clamp on this pipe, we would probably do it ourselves. But looking at the, amount of work that needs to be done in this situation, I think it is outside of our scope to go into that space and do that work in a safe manner.
Okay, but you guys are being trained though in confined space, so. right?
Yeah, we've already
You've already done
done,
one.
we've done confined space. We have the
Okay.
equipment to go into a confined space.
Gotcha. Just the project itself was too large for,
I think it's just too, a little bit outside of our scope of work.
gotcha. All right, thank you.
Any other discussion on that? So are you gonna, do we want to recommend the Politican estimate for the project on Monday? Seeing lots of yeses.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll make sure that's on the agenda to recommend that. Anything from personnel or anything else from water and sewer? Excuse me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Big person.
Anything from personnel? Nothing from personnel. Health and safety?
I got in touch with Mr. Kelly. And, he's gonna finish up the contract and get it back to us by next Monday, this coming Monday, the 23rd.
That's
So,
the ambulance contract, correct?
right, that's the ambulance contract, cause I told him I really would like to get that done by the end of the month.
Have we done anything, settled anything to do anything on it's not on the agenda. I was asked the question
No,
about the shelters. No,
No.
okay.
so, they had vocational Bible school this week. So, I didn't do anything on the, on that. So I'll start working on that and I'll release some more information on it.
Okay, thank you. Anything else for health and safety?
No, that's all.
Okay, moving on to unfinished business. You received two ordinances regarding Creekside. The first one was approving the retailer's occupational tax rebate and economic incentive agreement between the city of Illinois and Creekside Bar and Grill. Basically, this is giving them an incentive to complete their end of the project using taxes. A rebate on taxes. So we're gonna do a rebate on the taxes that they're generating. And once it reaches a point where the taxes that we're rebating and the taxes that are coming in even out, we're not gonna give them anything else. That's in that agreement. And then the second one is an ordinance to authorize retailers' occupational tax rebate, not economic incentive agreement between the city of Lebanon and Creekside Bar and Grill. And this is to approve the form of the agreement. That's why you have two documents. It's it's rare that this occurs. And this is the first time we're doing this.
Yeah. Couple questions.
Sure.
So like so we're paying for we're paying for the project that is accomplished already, is that right?
We're reimbursing essentially we're paying for part of the project.
Gotcha.
That was already decided.
Yeah.
This is a rebate on taxes, on the sales tax.
That they're gonna pay, like pay us back or whatever.
To the city to help pay us back essentially. And we're doing it in the form of a rebate. We're rebating their costs through taxes they're raising.
Um. If they, for God forbid, something happens to where they aren't in business anymore, will we be repaid that still, or is that?
Yeah, that's in there, we get repaid,
Okay,
that's in the agreement,
10 years, right?
right, for 10 years.
It was a good, item.
It's a good compromise on the whole thing. We get all of it done.
No, I mean, the verbiage and everything,
Yeah, I
you
know,
know,
but
very
the
clear.
whole agreement, getting to this point
Yeah,
is a great compromise. And, you know, we don't have, people at our meeting that are
right.
complaining about it.
Yeah.
But it moved as fast as it could. We moved this project as fast as we could.
I'll agree to disagree with that, but we'll keep going on with it though.
Well, I know there are some people could have said something sooner and gotten it going, but
I think, yeah.
So, or we, well, yes, approve, or
What about- You all
I got another, I
if you
got,
have a question.
I got a couple of questions.
okay,
So are they not able then to open? Is it, cause I had seen where here it said that without the agreement, the development project would not be possible.
without this agreement,
Oh,
the whole project would not be possible.
right.
Okay, but they're able to open now.
They're able to open,
Okay.
Once
Yeah,
they sign up,
once they sign this agreement, they're able to open.
The other thing is that I thought I saw, anyways, I thought I saw to where it said something that it's gonna be their line, like their sewer line.
They're gonna own the line between the connection and their building. What goes under the highway by statute still belongs to the city. Can't have
She's
a
shaking
title.
her head no.
No, they own the,
That is their lines all the way to the main.
okay, so they're on. So if something goes wrong under the highway, they're responsible for the full
So,
cost.
but
That's
is
what
where,
this whole point, yeah. this is-
where their connection is, right? And then that's our right of way, right? Or are they,
They're connecting on our right of way north of Route 50.
so if something happens right at that spot or whatever, it's both of us, cause it's in the farmer's field, right?
The IDOT permit that we signed
Mhm.
says that the city is liable for fixing anything that happens under that road. Even though it's not our line, the permit says the city is liable.
Okay.
Part of that same agreement was that, you know, they were taking that part of that liability on. However, IDOT says the city is on the hook for that. If something were to happen to the line of the highway, the likelihood of that happening is slim to none,
Right.
but we are liable for it.
Isn't that normally though, kind of how it works, like, and then ours and not their private line?
If it would have been a city main put in under the highway,
Mhm.
that would have been ours, and anybody on the other side could have connected onto that. But it is not, it is a 2-inch force main from their lift station at their building. So it is private for them all the way to the main.
So no one else can access that.
That is correct.
So if anybody else wants to do something over in that area,
Well, because it says, because that was my question, then the development project will serve further development of adjacent areas. But if no one else can feed off of it,
That is correct.
but we're paying for, I mean, I get where we're at with all of this, and I'm not trying to, I'm just asking questions.
anybody else is gonna have to go through the process of getting another tap in on our main on the north side of the highway. They can't tap into there, but that will facilitate.
So
more
we're
development.
paying for their private line and they're gonna pay
They're
it,
paying,
hopefully pay
they're
us back.
paying for most of their private line,
Okay. So, I get that.
all of it. They're paying for their private line. That is their sewer line. If another developer goes in and wants to put stuff on the north side or south side of Route 50 in that area, then they're going to either have to pay for a city main to go across that the city would own, or they're gonna have to do their own separate main unless they come to an agreement with Creekside to tap into their main.
You cannot do that.
They can't do that.
Cannot do that.
It's too small.
It wouldn't matter if it was full size, they can't tie into another lateral. Lateral is a lateral from well, per our ordinance, it's called a private sewer connection, not a lateral.
Okay,
Lateral is a city connection off of there, but, they can't tie in, can't have more than one residence or one business on one line to the main.
so if somebody wanted to develop that area, wanna have more than one business. they would-
The only way that they could use that is, I know they mentioned before, them wanting to buy the property next to there. If they buy the property on either side of them, if that's available, and they have enough, volume in that, lift station to handle that, they could tie into their own line, because it would all be one property. You know, they would all be the one owning one property, I can't speak. But that's the only way that I could see that anyone else on there could use that line, would be if it was all one line, and that would be, I'd have to look into that too, to see if it's a separate parcel, if they could do that.
At this point, we have an agreement that our attorney and their attorney have hashed out. And everybody seems to be happy with it. So is our recommendation to approve?
Well, one more thing, I'm sorry. He's gonna be killing me.
It's good to have questions.
Well, it's, you know, there's a lot,
We don't.
because, I mean, I understand there was a lot of stuff that happened with this, a lot of people were upset, but I also heard both sides of the table, and I'm coming in here. You know, I wasn't here for all that, but, it sounded like there was some things that didn't happen on their end and didn't happen on our end and all this other kind of stuff, and somebody said this and that, or whatever it is. And people got very frustrated and angry here, which is understandable because there's a lot of money on the line. But, you know, then are we, if another business comes in and needs this line done, is this gonna be our practice now that we're gonna pay for their line?
We didn't pay for their line.
No.
They paid for their line.
We're just fronting them the money.
Well, we're giving them a rebate. But if another business comes in and we see that it is going to be of significant benefit to the city, and we can decide at that point whether we're going to do a sewer line or they're gonna do a sewer line. Right now, my guess is that if another single business comes in, it would be a sewer line. If it's somebody who's developing and anticipating more businesses and has it plotted out that way, then we could consider something different. But we can't consider anything until we get a proposal.
Now, I would hope that the next, whoever would come in with whatever plans that they had would, and as a developer would present those to the city, and then the city would say, okay, well, what's part of your plan, and if it was to go across, just as I had said before with Northtown, with, the Knolls, with Oak Grove School Road, the developers put in all of those sewers at their expense. And then after a year's time, those are turned over to the city and they become city main.
Will that be the case for this one or no?
No, this is a private sewer.
And it will go with the property.
So once, if something else develops over there, it would be in, the best interest to look at those plans and say, okay, yeah, here it is. Yes, you're gonna have to, have sewer over there. And then the city could say, well, hey, we're gonna put the bill for that, but that has not been the practice in the past.
Okay.
The developer, if they're gonna develop, let's say they wanna put 20 homes over there. I don't know what will go over there. But then they would put the infrastructure in, water lines, sewer lines, all of that in to provide for their development.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm just trying to wrap my head on all this stuff, and there's a lot there, and I know emotions are high, so I just want to make sure we're all.
I think we're good.
I recommend we approve 1 and 2 on the unfinished business, or do I gotta read all that?
No, we don't vote here, just Is there a consensus? I'm seeing a number of nodding heads. And we have a consensus.
I agree. Second it. Whatever.
We don't
Yeah, I'm
vote.
looking forward to the vote. It's gonna be great, so.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it also. This isn't really new. Discuss possible outsourcing of cemetery lawn mowing. Who brought that in?
I brought that up, but we're gonna table that because I wanna come prepared with more numbers, so let's
Okay,
just, table that, not even worry about that.
all right, we won't discuss it. I'll take, don't put it on the agenda for next week. Okay, that's all the stuff that's on my agenda. Is there anything else before I call the meeting adjourned? Silence, therefore there being no further business. This meeting is adjourned.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah.
I know that, yeah. The good shit over there.
Hey, I actually.
I know what you're saying on the speed limit sign, just like I told William, Mr. Trina. Speed limit sign, they don't make these people slow down, and they cost big.